I'm Joe Chili, mornings from 7 to 9 at Buffalo's oldie station, the Big Weck. Joining us on the Big Weck Buffalo on the Rise today is Randy Kramer, who is the founder, artistic, and executive director of MusicalFare. Randy, how you doing today?
Very good, thanks, Joe.
Good to see you here. Let's get a little bit of background on you first before we talk about that. And some of the shows. What's the background? What got you into all of this?
Well, actually, I'm trained as a classical pianist, but when I got involved in theater and I started hanging around theater people and rehearsing and realizing how collaborative the art was, it drew me to it. And so I just started to work in it, and then I started a company. That's
a little bit of a leap from classical pianist to, to artistic director and doing all this. I mean, it's much broader, but it's something you really enjoy. Do you still play piano at all?
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I still do. And, and of course, doing musical theater makes perfect sense to have a piano background because I'm aware of, all of the music and all the different musicals and how it works and all of that.
So how much of your vision went into MusicalFare? Is it entirely you?
Yeah, I mean, I founded it. I was in New York City at the time, and I founded it, I hate to say this out loud, these years keep going by, but 1990. And came back to Buffalo, thought that we would be back in Buffalo for a year, and thought, oh, well, let's just do some theater and let's make this work. And here it is, 35 years later, and I'm still here.
How about that? That's good. And whereabouts is the theater itself?
So MusicalFare is located at Damon University, in a theater that we have renovated and expanded 3 separate times, and we will be there through May of 2025.
Boy, you got it all planned out here.
Yeah.
That's good. What about some of the shows you have coming up? If you can, you've got a number of shows. I think there's 6 shows or something. Give us kind of a headline on each of them. I mean, what they're about.
Well, we open in September with The Prom, which is a very funny musical. It's about a young girl in high school in the Midwest, and she wants to bring her girlfriend to the prom. And that creates all sorts of issues. And these Broadway actors whose careers are dying need a cause to reinvigorate their career. And they read about this, and so they go out there to try to talk to the Midwesterners and change their minds. But of course, what they're really trying to do is just up their own celebrity. So it's very funny, and it's very heartwarming in its own way.
Can you ever change the mind of a Midwesterner?
I think we've learned over the years we don't want to change. We don't want to try to change anyone's mind.
All right, what's coming up after that?
After that is Something Rotten, which is a very funny musical. It takes place in the 1500s. When there was this small little writer called William Shakespeare around.
I vaguely remember him.
Yeah. And so these 2 brothers, fictional, of course, decide to write the world's first musical because it had never been done at that point. And so it's all about all of the issues and the travails they have trying to compete with Bill Shakespeare.
Really, because I never thought of Bill Shakespeare in any fashion with a musical attached to his name, right? So
that's correct.
All right, so we're getting into next year, right? Some of the things next year. Tell us about some of those shows.
Well, at the Cabaret at MusicalFare, because we have a main stage in the Cabaret, in January we opened The Last 5 Years, which is a 2-person musical. It's about a relationship between a man and woman, and from the time that they first date until their marriage, and then ultimately until their marriage breaks up. But what's interesting about it is the man's story is told in chronological order. The woman's story is told from the last date they're together to the very beginning of their relationship. So it shows these 2 different emotions that happen throughout this. And the husband and wife are played by husband and wife Steve Copps and Kelly Copps.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're fantastic actors, wonderful singers, and so they'll do a great job with that.
It's great. I mean, you could have had it told from, an attorney's perspective. Of course, that would have added money to it.
Yeah.
What about next?
After that, in March, April, is Next to Normal. Actually, I take that back. Opens at the end of February. Next to Normal is a story about a suburban household, and it won a Pulitzer Prize. But it's about the mother in the household has significant mental health issues, bipolar, so on and so forth. And so it's about how families learn to dance
to
around
navigate
things.
that.
Yeah. And so it's very, very moving. And like I said, a Pulitzer Prize winner. And then we close. Well, go ahead.
I think a lot of families can identify with things like that, right?
Without a doubt, without a doubt. I think almost all families have some sort of challenge, right, within their family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how do you navigate it? How do you get through it? I mean, it's difficult, but I think it's worth seeing. And really, you know, it not only won a Pulitzer Prize, won a Tony on Broadway. It's a great musical.
All right, we've got about 2 minutes left. What are some of the other?
The final in the season, and it's our final season at Damon. April and May is Waitress. Which is a story about, again, a Midwestern sort of town, a woman who is a waitress, but she's also a pie baker. And she's stuck in a very difficult relationship, and she has to figure out a way to make her way out of it and make her way into creating a new life. And the music is by Sarah Bareilles, the contemporary pop singer and composer. Yeah. And the music's terrific. And again, this was on Broadway not too long ago.
All right.
So it's a full season.
Legally Blonde?
Legally Blonde at Shea 710. That's the only one of these that isn't out in Amherst. This one's downtown, and that's in May. This was a show that we did last year in the fall of 2023, and we're bringing it back because it sold out and everybody wants to see it. It's a very fun show.
And in our last minute or so, cabaret.
Yeah, so we do cabarets throughout the year, various cabarets. I'm doing a cabaret. You asked before about playing the piano. My wife and I, Teresa Quinn, do a cabaret called A Girl, a Guy, a Piano, and it's the two of us at the piano playing four hands. She sings like a bird. I sing okay when she's singing. Never alone. And so we've done this cabaret all over the country, down in Charleston, South Carolina, Florida, so on and so forth.
I sing like a crow. Yeah. All right, Randy Kramer, thank you so much for joining us today. MusicalFare Theatre, 4380 Main Street, Amherst, New York, and the phone number 839-8540, 839-8540, www.musicalfare.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by MusicalFare Theatre.